Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of our little tutorial on making this Hatchet asset for your video games. Part 1 we did the modeling, part 2 we did the unwrap, and part 3 we are going to go into Substance Painter and we are going to create this. We're just going to create the textures here. So previously we had exported our little FBX file at 3D Studio Max, and this is what we're going to create. Just very simple, a couple of simple layer textures on here. So let's get started. We will go File and New, and what we want to do is we want to make sure our template is at the PBR Metallic Roughness, and File, we want to just navigate to that FBX that we exported previously. Just double click that, and then we are going to go to Document Resolution, and we will bump this up to 2048. Give us nice 2K textures. Just hit OK. That's the last thing we need to do. I'll just discard this last one that I had open here. And you'll see there is our plain hatchet coming in. So as always, first thing we want to do is we want to go to our texture set settings. If that's not there, we just go to Window, Views, and Texture Set Settings. Just make sure that's visible. And we scroll down near the bottom of that to Beck Mesh Maps. And we can leave this as 1024. We don't have a high poly mesh to make this with, so we're just going to click Use Low Poly as High Poly, and click Beck Mesh Maps. Give that a few seconds to let it run. It will add in our normal, it will add in our ambient occlusion, etc, etc. You'll not really see any difference, just a couple of wee bits of shadows and stuff appearing here. And that's us done. We're ready now to start texturing this up as normal. So what we want to do, we're going to get down here to our shelf, and we're just going to use some pre-made materials this time. I'm going to look for steel, and I'm going to use the steel rough, and this will be for the head. And I'm also going to type in wood, and we'll use this for the handle, and I'm going to use this American cherry. It's one of the 3 pre-built ones. And what we want to do for each of these, we want to go up here and add a black mask. And add a black mask. And what we're going to do is just pick out the bits of the model we actually want this to be on. So rather than having that wood over everything, we just want that wood to be visible on the handle itself. So in order to do that, we are going to go down to the 4th little icon here, or polygon fill, and you'll see it as the polygon grid over the top. Let me give us a wee bit more room here maybe. And what I've got this selected to, I can just click individual polys and it will show that there, but that's going to take forever. If I go to this 3rd little option here, mesh fill, because we kept these as separate objects and we didn't combine them all as one object, we can just click on this and it'll fill the whole thing. And we can do the same with our steel. If we go to the steel, we've got that little mesh fill, it's on mesh mode. Click up here, we've got the steel. Perfect. Also for this steel, just for handiness, I'm going to fill this little bead down here with that material as well. There we go. Few things we need to fix here. We need to fix the direction of the wood. But one last thing before we do that, I'm going to make a little material for the cord here. And let me see, if I just delete this, we have a material called fabric. Fabric rough is quite good. So we'll drag that up there, drag it on. Again, it's filling everything. We don't want that. We want add a black mask. And again, with our mesh selection, just click there. And there we go. Now, this one, we don't really need to do too much of this, but if we zoom in, it looks a little bit crappy. It's a wee bit pixely. So what we're going to do is, on the little thumbnail for the layer itself, now not the mask, but the layer itself, what we're going to do is we're going to come down to the properties, and we are going to change the scale, and we're going to lower that scale. No, sorry, we're not. We're going to raise that scale up a bit to about, let me see, to about 3 or 4, and you'll see it just makes it look a little bit more like cloth. If we lower it way down, stretches way up, it gets very pixely. That's not what we want. So we want to raise the scale to about 4. That looks okay. What we can also do here, if we roll down a little bit, we can see different properties here. We've got the color. I'm just going to change the color to a kind of a middleish red. not fully saturate it, kind of a wee bit pale maybe, something like that. There we go, and that will do lovely. Okay, so let's go back to our wood here. Now, the problem with the wood, I'm just going to select my paintbrush to get rid of that polygon wireframe. The problem with the wood here is it might default, depending on the way you've modeled your handle and the way it is directed on your UV map. The grain's going the wrong direction here. It's going the wrong way. So what I want to do is, again, just select that wood material, and down here in the properties, all we have to do is where it says rotation, we want to just rotate this. Now, we could rotate it exactly 90 degrees, but it doesn't need to be that exact. We can go a degree or two off, and that'll be fine. What we can also do, this is a procedurally generated material. We can play about with that generation just to get a result more to our liking. So if I scroll down, we see we have wood roughness as well. If I rotate my camera around here just with shift and right click, we can see that this wood is actually quite shiny. Got a nice wee bit of shine there. It's quite glossy. We can get rid of that gloss if we want, just up the roughness a wee bit. But I'm actually going to leave it. We're going to maybe make this as if it's a sort of a newish kind of hatchet. Not much damage done to it yet, so we'll leave that wee bit of shine on it. What I am going to do is I'm going to just slide this wee layers button though. And what it effectively does is just sort of randomly generates the wood grain for us. So you may or may not get a better or worse result just by sliding that. You're never going to get the same thing every single time. So just play with it, just eyeball it until you get something that looks pretty good. That's not bad there, I'm happy enough with that. Okay, what do I want to do now? Let's go back to this axe head. So the steel rough is not too bad. I'm not really going to touch it too much. Again, just click on that wee thumbnail. I can click the random seed button. I've got some patterns here. I can just click the random seed button and I'll sort of regenerate that slightly differently. What I will do is I'm going to darken down this steel color a little bit. Just give it that kind of black iron kind of look. And I can affect the roughness as well. If I put the roughness way down, it'll become sort of nearly reflective. We don't want that. So put it up quite high. Give it quite a dull metal kind of look. That is all I really want to affect on that. Maybe what I could do if I zoom in there, I could maybe play with the scale a wee bit, put the scale up. Maybe not that high. Start at 2. What if I change it to 3? Yeah, that's not too bad. That's okay. I'm just playing with values at random here. It doesn't really matter. Got some nice sheen off that. Okay, that is grand. What I do want to do is add a little bit of paint to this. A lot of these hatchets would have a kind of a red band on them. So what I want to do is I want to create a new layer. Sorry, no I don't. I want to undo that, Control Z. I want to add a new fill layer for the hatchet. And I want to color this, if I scroll down to my properties, I want to color it red. Got a nice red color. And what do I want to do? I could probably play with the roughness a wee bit. Yeah, I'll put the roughness up a wee bit higher. Metallic is 0, normal is that. I'm going to play with the height later. What I want to do now is just choose where I can see this. So I'll call this head paint, just so I know what layer it is. And again, I will add a black mask. And I want to add this to certain parts. If I go to my fill, what I want to do is I want to add it to the back half of the hatchet here. Now what I need to be careful of is if I click that, I'll do the whole thing. Don't want that. So we're going to go from our mesh fill over to our polygon fill. And now this is where we will actually fill individual bits. But what I can also do is click and drag. That'll fill. But what I need to be careful of is I don't drag too much because it can actually... Oh, it's not doing it this time. That's interesting. Sometimes if you do this, it will fill the... Oh, I know why. We've already masked this out, haven't we? Why is it not doing this? What if I bring you up here? Yes, we just have to be careful. If this is the top of your stack and you drag over, you're going to see that that is going to supersede the wood. We don't want to overdo our wood, or we don't want to paint over our wood. So how we want to do this actually is to paint directly on our UV map. So I'm going to come over here and just click and drag over the island on the UV map itself, and that will keep it exactly where we want it without actually hitting anything else. If we paint on the model, we risk painting the wood itself. So there we go, and we'll do the top and bottom as well. There we go, and that looks nice. That looks like a good hatchet there. We'll just get rid of that wireframe. Last thing I want to do, because it's a thick layer of kind of plasticky paint, what I will do is come back to my layer thumbnail itself and just bump the height up ever so slightly, just to give that a little bit of an edge there. So you can just see that just down here, just that little bit of thickness just gives it a wee bit of an edge. Okay, what do we want to do now? I actually don't really like that steel too much being scaled up like that. We can see it's giving these weird kind of folds, weird kind of wrinkles. So I'm going to go back to my steel. I'm just going to hit the random seed again to get rid of that. Maybe that scale's just too high. So I'm going to put that scale back down to 2. What if we put that scale to 1? 2 was better. Just, I don't like these random kind of folds we're getting here. It doesn't look right. I'll just hit random seed a time or two, just until I get something that doesn't really have that. Maybe it's not going to make any difference. Do you know what? I'll leave it. It's fine. Okay, next wee thing I want to do then, I just want to add a little indentation on here, a little logo or something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another new fill layer. Add a fill layer. It's going to be white for now. I'm just going to, on the properties here, deselect the color tab, and you'll see here base color disappears. Get rid of that. It's no longer a property that we can color. I don't want roughness. I don't want metallic. I just want height and normal. And I'm going to put my height down to a negative value. Now we can't see anything yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a black mask to this. So the reason why we can't see anything yet is because that layer is basically adding negative height over everything. So when negative height is over everything, it's basically over nothing. But when I add this mask, and now I'm going to go to my alpha shapes, I'm just going to pick a random one here. Could be the logo of our company. Let's see, we'll just go to fleur de lis. And I'll hold control and mouse wheel just to make that a little bit bigger. And now if I click, we can see that's just superimposed that on there. If you're making like a Viking axe or something, you would do the exact same thing. If you want to have like those kind of patterns down the handle, do it the exact same way. We just get a layer with height value on it, put a negative height value in, and then we can trim that in. I'll just do the same on the other side here. Why not have it the same on both? Shift and right click to change my lighting around. That looks pretty good. If you want to do wee chips and chinks and cracks and things like that, just do the same thing. Just change your alpha to a little scratchy shape. There might be a little scratchy shape in here. Lightning bolt is not exactly what we want, but we could maybe just ding that in there like that. Or actually what we could do is we could go, if I undo that, we take this lightning bolt, make it a lot smaller, control and left click drag to rotate that around, and we can just sort of put in wee, why are they not appearing? Too far out, that's why. I'll tell you why it's not appearing. If we come down here to our properties, change the alignment from tangent wrap to UV, because we're painting directly on the UV. There we go. So now we can add some wee chips into the edge of that axe. Don't really want to do that. It was just to show you how to do that. But we'll leave them there for now, they're alright. So what I just did there, changing that alignment from UV to tangent wrap. It's really just whether if you're painting on the 3D model itself, you want to leave that to tangent wrap, and if you're painting here on the UV, you want to have that set to UV because it can affect sort of how it wraps around the model if you're doing curved surfaces. But okay, let me see, is there anything else I want to do? I think I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, that's grand. As I say, we could add dirt and grime on there. We just add in other layers. Let me see, add a fill layer, change the color, just down a kind of a dirty, grimy, let me see, dirty brown color. Just, let me see, add a black mask, add generator, we'll just do a general dirt. Just something like that, adds a bit of dirt and grime onto it. But I don't really want to do that, that's just something we could do. You've seen me do that in other videos. All kinds of other stuff, but I'm going to leave it there. I like the fact that it's a nice pristine axe, so I just got rid of that dirt layer. One other thing we could do actually, if you want to make this just a slightly bit more used, you could put a layer on here, a fill layer that just has roughness on it. So we see we've got a very shiny axe. We'll go new fill layer, and we'll call this just handle roughness. And I don't want it to have any color, I don't want it to have any height, metal or normal, it's just going to affect the roughness value. And if I slide this up and down, you'll see it's making the whole thing rougher, just because we haven't masked it out yet. So we're going to put it rough. I'm going to add a black mask, so it's not applying to any part of the layer. And then all I'm going to do is with my pencil, my paint brush tool selected here, go to my alpha, I'll choose one of these. There's cracks, not really what I want. Dirt splashes, dirt cloudy, I'll do lovely. So we've got the dirt cloudy alpha. Just hold control and mouse wheel to make that a bit bigger. And if we just sort of plant that on there, you'll see it's doing nothing more than taking away the shininess on the handle. So as if you've used this axe a couple of times and you've just sort of worn away the varnish or worn away the smoothness on the grip. And just when you're making your game assets and these high quality textures, you want to think of ways you can make them as realistic as possible. There we can have it nice and shiny, but we can see the shininess is just not there on the part where your hand would be. You can maybe even put a bit of dirt on there, just because that's where it will get a bit grimy from sweat from your hand or whatever. But that's looking pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. Let's call it quits there. So last thing we need to do, obviously you want to save your project. We'll go file and save. Let me see. That's my other tutorial. We'll save this in Hatchet. We'll just call it prop underscore Hatchet. And then we want to export this out. So file, export textures. And we want to just choose here is where we're going to save those textures out. So let me see, quick access 3D Hatchet, we'll save them in there in that folder. Just save them wherever you want. Let me see, we've got our document size here is 2048, just as we set up initially. Configuration, we don't really need to worry about that. And yeah, just hit the export button. It'll take a few seconds to export that out. And that's us done. So there we are, we've got our FBX, we've got our textures ready to put in game. And that's another project complete. Some of these finished, we'll not worry about that. Okay, thank you very much for watching, guys. Any questions, any comments, as always, leave them down below. And I will see you for the next tutorial. Thank you very much.